For immigrants, homeland is not always a place you can revisit easily, but it can be recreated in a kitchen. A spice jar becomes geography, a recipe becomes memory, a meal becomes belonging. Through history, food is considered the portable culture. It travels when passports do not. It survives when accents fade. It connects generations who may never live in the same country. And maybe that's why ethnic food matters so deeply. Because when everything else changes, taste remains. Welcome back to Chatting with Slava the Jordanian. I'm your host, STJ, and today we are discussing the immigrant relationship with ethnic food. So, research in migration sociology consistently finds that food practices are among the last traditions to assimilate. Studies on immigrant acculturation show language shifts by the second generation, clothing adapts quickly, religious practice may decline, but food traditions remain remarkably resilient. Research-driven exploration of identity, memory, and belonging. Because for us immigrants, food is rarely just food. It's memory, language, ritual, resistance, continuity. Sociologists often describe food as one of the most durable forms of cultural retention in migrant communities. Long after accents soften and clothing styles shift, cuisine remains. So, in today's episode, we're exploring immigrant relationship with ethnic food through social research, psychology, and migration data to find out why is our food cultural preservation. So, and I cannot think but to have this discussion with my co-host, Ihab Abdrabou, or Dr. Ihab Abdrabou, since he is a big foodie. So thank you, Ihab, for joining us. And I am planning for this episode to have a lot of levity, a lot of laughter, and a lot of nostalgic memories of how my mom and your mom cooked and how we enjoyed food. So, to believe it or not, to the shock of our audience, Ehab hated Arabic food growing up. Isn't that correct, Ehab?
Hated it with a passion.
So,
I mean, yeah, I did not like it. Yes, for sure.
Can you think of a reason? First of all, how old were you when you discovered that I hate Arabic food?
As long as I can remember, I would say when I was 4 or 5, I don't know. I just had to, my dad was forcing me to eat like Arabic food. All the stews my mom would make, spinach, the spinach stews, and just anything and everything that my mom made a lot of stews. That's a big Egyptian thing. There's a type stews are really big in Egyptian culture. So you have okra stew, spinach stew. They have some mulkhia, which I really love. By the way, one of my favorite Egyptian dishes. We'll come back to that later. But yeah, I think what really caused the rift between me and food, Arabic food, is not the food itself. I mean, later on in life when I ate it, it was delicious, of course, and I loved Arabic food. But back when I was a kid, you're constantly being bombarded on TV with commercials from McDonald's, Kentucky Fried Chicken. That's what it was called back then, and Burger King. And all I wanted to eat was fast food. And my mom obviously did not make fast food, and my dad was not going to pay for it, except when he wanted it. So if he wanted fast food, we got it. If my dad said no to fast food, we didn't eat fast food, and we just ate what my mom cooked at home. which is obviously healthier, to be honest with you. We can talk about the health aspects of food probably in this segment, but I would say as early as 4 or 5. When I remember, like my mom telling me, "Oh, I made this," and I'm like, "I don't want to eat that," and then I would sit at the dinner table, and my dad is there, and I didn't want to eat it, and my dad's like, "Well, you're not getting anything else, so you either eat it or you don't eat it, and you eat it later when you get hungry or hungrier." So, usually in the evenings when my dad went to work, because he went to work at night, he worked the night shift when I was young, and he'd go after dinner. It would be like 7, 8 o'clock at night, and I'd be hungry. And my mom would go, "What do you want something to eat?" I'm like, I don't want to eat the stew, basically. So I tell her, "Can I have something else?" And my mom would, I'd want French fries were the big thing for me. And the reason why I liked French fries is because I like McDonald's French fries. So my mom would sit down and try to cut these French fries into those little, thin, small fries like McDonald's. It took her forever. And then, after the first potato, she started cutting it wider and wider. And the fries became like just these, the thick cut fries that you get in restaurants now, which are delicious as well. But I liked it thinner and crispier, like the McDonald's fries. So, and the other big thing that my mom made me when I was a kid is feta cheese with tomatoes and olive oil, and I eat it with pita bread. So those are the 2 meals I would eat if I didn't like the stew. Not everything was a stew when I was young, but like they made something called kufta, which is like a burger, but I wanted to eat like a McDonald's burger. And my dad would be like, "Your mom will make your own homemade burger, and it's got onions sticking out of it." And it's, I don't know. It was a big thing back then, but man, I loved my mom's burgers when I got older, and appreciated the Arabic food. So, but here we are. I'm a big foodie, and I'll eat any type of food, but Arabic food is one of my favorites, next to Italian, of course. So I don't know what your favorite food is and how you grew up, but it sounds, I think some of the stories you told me, but you can tell your story. But I remember you saying, you ate a lot of Arabic food, and I don't think it bothered you, but it bothered me that I was eating it. And I wanted to eat the fast food. So what is it kind of from your end in Saudi at the time?
Well, we grew up in a Palestinian-Jordanian household, so Saudi food did not influence our palate at all. And neither did back then in the 70s, the Saudi cuisine was just rice and meat. And that's what my mom grew up on before they got introduced to the Palestinian/Egyptian, kind of food, al-mulukhiyya and crumb is like, stuffing cabbage and all that stuff, and all the stews too, the bean stew and string bean stew and ulas. We didn't have ulas. You guys have I'm not sure what they call it in English, the root that you make a stew out of. So my mom,
it's a taro root. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a taro root. That's right. So I don't think in Jordan they eat a lot of roots. Like in Egypt, you guys love potatoes, sweet potato, batatas. You guys. Yeah. Bake sweet potatoes, which I never really heard of sweet potatoes until I came here to the United States. So Jordanian or Palestinian, we don't eat that. We eat a lot of rice, a lot of meat, a lot of magluba is basically rice-based, rice, vegetables, eggplant, onions, peppers, cauliflower. We do a lot. We stuff everything, peppers, zucchini, eggplants, grape leaf, cabbage. I think now, knowing what I know right now, like a lot of our, like the Levantine food, it's almost influenced by Eastern European food, because I watch this group of families that live in Ukraine up in the mountains, and a lot of what this lady makes is like, oh my God, my mom made this, my mom made that. So I'm not sure if it's like the Ottoman Empire influence and the Levantine with the Eastern European, but growing up, the difference between you and I, you had the TV commercial influence, which we did not have. we had two channels, and if we're lucky, we can get sometimes the Egyptian channel. And I don't think the Arab world back then in the 70s and the 80s had a lot of commercials. If they had commercial, it would be lavash kiri or like yogurt commercial or chocolate commercial, which is the Cadbury chocolate commercial. I don't think we had soda. It was like the Schweppes commercial from Egypt, but gum commercial, but there's no McDonald, there's no fast food. So it was, for us, it was like, okay, this is what everybody eats. So we didn't have that struggle like you had. I think because you guys came here in the 70s, your dad wanted to, implant that culture. Like I said, it's very nostalgic. Like I mentioned earlier, language will shift with a second generation American. So he was worried about, okay, he's going to lose his Arabic probably when he starts school because you're going to be Americanized. You're going to start dressing up like Americans. But the food is one of the food and religion, one of the two things, the two of the few things that he can actually control in his household. But you mentioned in the past that he used to force like the egg and milk and for you to drink it with honey I think this is like, so it was, country folks, because on the farm, that's what they did to get stronger.
So my dad was wanting me basically to eat cooked eggs, and I wouldn't eat them because I didn't like them. And I didn't like milk, and he really didn't really push too much. Every once in a while he'd give it to me, but I have to have it cold, and I would chug it in one without, because that has that really gross like film or whatever. It's like mucus at the end of it. Makes this like, I don't know what the heck it does, but it's just disgusting, and I can't drink it now. I will not drink milk. I will eat eggs, to be honest with you, and I got used to them. When I started losing my weight, I don't remember what, 15 years ago or something, whatever it was, is when I really got into eggs. I never ate eggs before that. If you can just remind me, Slava, when I started eating eggs. I think it was right around when I was losing weight, because that was the big thing, egg whites. And
2009, the egg whites. Yeah, you never liked the yolks. You don't like hard-boiled eggs. You don't like the runny eggs. Just egg whites. You had to, I think, tolerate it so you can lose the weight in 2009, 2010.
I'll tell you a dish my mom used to make, speaking of eggs, and I think I did eat them with this dish. It's called kushari, but not the kushari that you ate, the lentil, the brown lentil is more a yellow one. And my mom would make it either like just plain or with feta, which is like is pita bread and cooked with like a brothy vinegar. I mean, there's different ways to make it. So my mom made it like various ways, and you put that kushari on the top or rice on the top, and she would take a hard-boiled egg and fry it in like melted butter, and oh my god, and I get all crunchy on that. I don't know why I liked it. And then you take it, and this is what I would do, and I'd smash the egg up into, like, I'd squish it up into that rice or kushari, and they pour the butter on top of it. Oh my god! And put salt and pepper. That was, I don't know why I could eat it like that. It's probably because it was all the taste of the yolk was hidden by all that butter and salt, and so it was just kind of concealed, and you didn't. But it tasted really good, and you got the protein, of course, from the lentils and from the egg, and but I just, the reason why I wouldn't eat eggs when I was young, I just didn't like them because my dad would try to force me to eat them. So what he would do is take, I think it was like 1 or 2 tablespoons of honey. It was pineapple juice and 2 raw eggs blended together, and I would, it'd have to be super cold, and I would chug that down because, even though when you blend it like that, the really overpowering flavor in it is really the pineapple juice and kind of the honey, right? It's really sweet because the pineapple juice is already sweet, and you put that 1-2 tablespoons of honey, and it's like really, really sweet. So even if I drank it slower, it wasn't really a big deal. But I just, in my mind, the psychological, like, oh my God, there's 2 raw eggs in here and I hate runny eggs. I just had to chug that thing down so fast. But yeah, it was when I was a younger kid, I was really like, I didn't like Arabic food much, and I didn't like eggs or milk, obviously. And there's certain times I would eat things like, I like the stuffed cabbage. My mom had stuffed grape leaves were very good. I'd eat that even when I was young. Kofta when I was young. Anything like that was like a chicken meat dish, where it was not in like a sauce, not in a like a stew type situation. I would eat it. It's when it was put into stews, when there's meat in the stew, I didn't really like it much. But when it's, you took a piece of meat and you cooked it like a cutlet, and you fried it or something with, and breadcrumbs or whatever. My mom used to make like chicken cutlets too. So, I mean, a lot of these foods are Arabic, the ones I'm talking about, the chicken cutlet and stuff. But again, I'm sure, it comes from, I don't know if chicken cutlet originates from Egypt or not, but it could come from Europe. But I'm saying that that's something that kind of transferred from Egypt over here. But I mean, I don't know about your favorite foods, but as I got older, you know, I started eating different foods. So I want to say when I started high school is when I ate Italian food, I ate steak, I ate all that stuff. My mom kind of made it, and when we went out to an Italian restaurant, I'd have some, but it's a lot later in life when the food became something of a special thing to me, for me. And you can talk about the psychological stuff, but it was you know very satisfying, and made me very happy eating the different types of food from around the world. It was really a lot of fun, especially once I got to college. It was like, all bets were off, and I want to say when I had sushi for the first time, I think I was in college. I never had it before that. So that was my first time having sushi, and actually Japanese food, to be honest with you. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know, like you probably had different types of food growing up. I don't know, like you might have been exposed to different things when you traveled, but I didn't travel much, so it was mostly I either ate Arabic food or local. If we went to an Italian restaurant, I don't think I ever really went to a Chinese restaurant. My parents really weren't big on Chinese food. So that happened a lot later in life when I was kind of free to do whatever I wanted and eat wherever I wanted, and when I got older. But go ahead, like kind of tell me a little bit about what you liked. I mean, start when you were younger. I mean, you were saying that you ate a lot of the Jordanian, Palestinian type food, but were you exposed to, of course, other foods when you traveled, right? And at home, I'm sure. I don't know if your mom made like spaghetti and meatballs, like Italian dishes. Kind of let me know what your favorite dishes or what you ate when you were young.
So my mom made everything at home, just like your mom. She made her jams. We made our own Jello. I just started making that too. Cheese used to come fresh from Jordan. Our fruits and vegetables came. Saudi Arabia didn't have fruits and vegetables, so all came from North Africa. Of course, the fresh fish. The lamb. We ate a lot of lamb. We didn't eat much beef. All the poultry was fresh. That was from Saudi. But fruits and vegetables, my mom was big on fruits and big on vegetables. So you go to the farmer's market, and my dad will have the crates of stuff walking out. So I just remember the fruits, the strawberries smelling amazing, the cucumbers coming from Egypt, the figs, the mangoes, the guava, the grapes. My mom adored grapes. I wasn't a big fruit person when I was a child. I was a big bread person. I think now I found that I'm lactose intolerance, but it just because my mom ate a lot of cheese and we ate a lot of cheese, especially hard cheese. But also we drank a lot of yogurt. We have the lebna, which is almost the tzatziki kind of yogurt. And my mom loved that, but I never felt really good on it. We did make macarona bechamel like the Egyptians. We did macarona bil leban. So our cuisine has a lot of dairy compared to North African cuisine, as a Levantine. We did use tomato as a sauce. Always our tomatoes is a sauce. If we don't want to use dairy, but dairy was always the go-to. Macarona bil leban, which is a cold dish that we eat. But to answer your question, like my favorite food is the stuffed grape leaves because I got to engage in the operation because my mom taught me how, I wanted always to help. I'm very visual, hands-on. I wanted to help out. So I used to roll grape leaves with her. And so that's memory. That's more of a memory attachment to it. Being with my mom, of course, I love the taste of it. The lemony, the rice and meat inside. It's like soaked in the tomato juice. You're getting me hungry, And but the other thing is magluba, which is very Levantine. It's very Levantine, the magluba, because magluba is magluba means upside down. So in order to flip the pot, the whole family gets together. So it's just really hands-on. So it's like a family activity, and that's another sensory attachment to it or memory attachment to it is a magluba. These are the two dishes that I just, when I become nostalgic, those are the first two dishes flavor wise. But honestly, to go back traveling, when I traveled, I started traveling in Europe when I was 5. What do you feed a 5-year-old? We didn't go to Italy when I was really young until we actually started spending a lot of time in Austria and went to northern Italy. And when I went to Italy, I went with my aunt and her kids, went to Milan but pasta, that's all we ate. Spaghetti is spaghetti. But we didn't get into the escargot or the snails or the foie gras or in France or any of that. We were just kids eating bread and butter and olive oil and then pasta. Everything is pasta. But when I came to the United States, I really got, introduced to waffles and pancakes and my memory, if I remember, we were in LA in the Marriott and I got introduced to shrimp cocktail. That I will never, ever forget. And I remember the waiter, I was so young, probably 7 or 8, and the waiter was amazed that a 7-year-old's eating a shrimp cocktail. And I loved the sauce. I used to dip it, and one time I ordered like shrimp cocktail for lunch, shrimp cocktail for dinner, and then he was so impressed by me. I remember he got me a cup of Jello just as a dessert, just for free and stuff. It's like, good girl, you ate all your shrimp. But those are the fun, but that's just the fun memories of what I got introduced to through travel. But it's nostalgic in a sense, like it's memory, but it's not nostalgic as like the ethnic food nostalgia. So I've been researching because I knew how I felt about food, but I couldn't really put it in words. It says here as a second generation immigrants, they often report a very strong attachment to traditional, culture, even when other cultural remarks they fade, which is it's the food, it's a culture of food, and it's because it's practiced daily, it's tied to family gathering, it is it's embedded in our emotional memory, and it's very it's less politically visible than language or dress, so it's almost like, again, it's very private, it's very intimate that you go home, nobody's watching, nobody's judging you, nobody criticizing you as an immigrant, and you go home, you get to eat your ethnic food and converse about it. How do you agree? I agree with that. I agree with that 100%, but I did not grow up here again, in comparison to Saudi Arabia, we were not Saudi, so our household was very Palestinian-Jordanian. So yeah, we did feel that way. We ate, feta cheese, Nubulsi cheese. My mom made knafa. We had the mensef, which you hate, and that was not expressed in the, in any of the restaurant in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, the cuisine that was, the very bougie cuisine was the Lebanese food. Everybody wanted to eat Lebanese food. Nobody cared about Palestinian or Jordanian food. But what do you think of that data or that reasoning?
Trying to think now. Like for me, kind of my connection didn't again happen till a lot later. So your connection was when you were young, when you were eating Arabic food. I was very disconnected from it because I just didn't want to eat it. And even the one of my favorite dishes, the macaroni bechamel with the bechamel sauce, I ate it. Think in my mind I'm eating it like it's lasagna, but it wasn't until later. I want to say my palate changed right in the beginning, like high school. It's kind of when everything switched and flipped. And I don't know why. But the thing about fruits, vegetables, salads, none of that was ever anything until it's like, I wasn't that I hated fruits or salads, or it's just something I didn't like, I didn't order in a restaurant. I never really, my parents loved fruits. They loved vegetables. They loved salad. They had at every dinner, they'd have a salad. And my parents ate fruit all the time, but I just didn't like it. And not until I really started losing weight again is where, the eggs came into play, the fruits, the vegetables. So my connection to food was a little bit disjointed in a way that I wasn't connected to my ethnic food when I was young, but I did eat. It wasn't like I didn't eat, but I got really reconnected with that ethnic food in high school. And it didn't really kick into my brain until how good it was until college, when I left home and I'm like, you know what? Eating at this school cafeteria, it's all right. And how many burgers can you eat? And it's like, after a while, I was able to get as many burgers as I wanted, right? I had a meal plan, so I can order 4 burgers in a row if I wanted it. But after a couple, when I got there to college at Case Western, I was like, I got to that. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I can eat whatever I want. And then I started eating the food there, and I'm like, you can only have so many burgers, so many turkey sandwiches, right? It starts to become a little bit boring. And then the food that they cooked, if they made pasta, it was all right. It wasn't that good. And the dorm, or not the dorms, but the food the school served in the cafeteria. But the burgers and things like that were just okay, they kind of taste like burgers if you were to buy them outside in a restaurant. But just the pasta, it wasn't that good. I just thought it was okay. And not until I moved to my fraternity house, where we had actually somebody that would come and cook for us, and the food was really good there. She was a really good cook. And it was a different experience, obviously, eating there. And then I got really into Chinese food because of my fraternity brother, my little brother Bill Fong. He was Chinese, and he got me really into. After I got to know Bill, I was eating Chinese food 3 times a week, at least. It was incredible. I would skip the food at the school, and we'd go get dinner there, or I'd eat something small at our fraternity house, and then we go later on at night, usually midnight, we'd go get some Chinese food, and really authentic Chinese. It wasn't the kind of the Americanized stuff. So it was, that's a different palate, a different change and type of food in my life was connected to Bill. Really, it wasn't really something like I ate Chinese food, but nothing like authentic Chinese. He really pulled me into that in my, I think when I say my second year, end of my second year in college. And boy, did it blew up in my mind. I was always going to these two restaurants, these specific restaurants, that were just delicious. So, yeah.
Well, the difference between me and you. Yeah, the difference between me and you is you were not taken away from your culture. You were not taken away from home. But we leave everything that we know and everything that we love, including our food. So coming to the United States, immigrating and migrating is very lonely. So food does reduce loneliness. You know, like when you eat your ethnic food and your traditional food, it reduces like, oh my God, this reminds me of so-and-so. This reminds me of this wedding. This reminds me of this gathering. This reminds me of the holiday. Just like the holidays in the United States. But to you, I don't think, Ihab, if you look back at it, you didn't have that connection, so you couldn't. I don't think you could understand. No. You can agree with me or not. You didn't have the connection like your parents has. Like, what's the big deal? So what if I don't eat bechamel? So what if I don't eat so what if I don't eat mulukhia? I'm not connected to it, right? But we are connected to it, and your dad wanted to transfer that power to you. And make sure that you have that. You're like, taste how good it is. This is so good. This is what my mom used to do. Like Nana Dawlat, Allah yarhamha, this is how my sisters used to cook or bake or whatever. To you is like, I don't know anything about it, so I don't have any attachment about it. But when I was a case, we used to dream. It was lonely without having our food around because it reminded us of our family, our tribal connection. So for us, we couldn't have that food. So the least we can do, or the best we can do, is talk about it. And talking about it, we can smell it, we can taste it, we can experience it again. And that reduced the loneliness, but also increased that, or release that emotional warmth, right? That's like, oh my God, it's soul food. Yeah. I can smell it. I can see my mom cooking it. But you didn't have any of that until you left home. When you left your parents and you create, that's what I noticed. Because when I met you, you didn't have that much attachment to it. But after we got married in 1992, we moved to California, and you start craving. It's like, oh, I miss my mom's food. And then we moved to Maine. I was like, I miss New Jersey food. I miss like the bagels and the bread from New Jersey. I miss pizza, New Jersey pizza. So again, it's the same process. You are conditioned with that food and that memory, and then you are taken away from it, then you start missing it. But I think the struggle in the beginning is your dad was telling you this where you come from, and you're like, I have no idea where I come from. I come from here. So he's like, no, you don't come from here. You come from there. And you're like, I don't know what there looks like or feels like or smells like or tastes like. Now, going back to Egypt 2024, 2025, your nostalgia is very different because the experience was different than when you were there in the 80s. Am I wrong?
Oh, no. I mean, I was going to mention that, like, when I was about 13, 14, I was my first year in high school. We went for the last time, kind of, I don't want to say it's my adult, but, the last time before I went in 2024. So when I went then, my connection to like Arabic or Egyptian food wasn't there yet, I don't think, fully. So when I went there, I mean, everything is Egyptian food or Arabic food. There is no like, back then, I'm sure there were Italian restaurants. I'm sure there was pizza. I'm sure all that that existed, but the majority of it back then was just Arabic or Egyptian food. Now, when we went in 2024, my God, they have everything. They have Italian. They have Chinese, which we haven't tried yet, I don't think. They have Japanese, which I want to try at some point. What did we eat that one day? It was one of the last nights there in this 2025. Was it like an Asian type fusion at the hotel? Do you remember?
We were supposed to, and it was closed. because they closed early,
So
and
what
we
did
ended
we
up
eat?
just having like appetizers. I had like hummus and sambusa, and you guys had, I think your cousin had pasta, and you had like, I don't know, something, I think chicken and stuff, because the Far East kind of cuisine, that restaurant in that hotel, they closed. We got there late, so they closed early. And there was another party in the other restaurant, so we couldn't go into the other restaurant, so we just ate really quick. But
That's right.
I feel like you going there right now as an adult and experiencing life the way you have experienced life, traveling the world, going to Asia so many times, and then living in the United States for about now 55 years, going back to Egypt is almost like you reinforce your identity, in this, in the stability of the identity that your dad was looking for. You just reinforce it when you went back. It's like, this is me. This is my ancestor. This is my culture. This is my heritage. And I saw your face. I watched it every time you bit into anything. You're like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I remember when my mom used to talk about bombard. Like I tried bombard for the first time. It was amazing, which is basically sausage with rice. But even like drinking the mlukhia, or even the san al-asfur, which is a really simple soup, is basically, what's the san al-asfur in English, Ehab? It's basically chicken broth and it looks like san al-asfur. It's basically,
it's a pasta. I think it's orzo. It's
like, it looks like the tongue of the bird. That's what it translates to it. But when I drank it, I was like, oh my God, it's incredible. I can smell home. I can taste home. I had flashes of nostalgic memories. Like, oh my God, it tastes like my mom, or it tastes like my mother-in-law. Allah yarhamu yahsin ilayha Ihab. And then, but drinking the mlukhia, eating the pita bread, the fresh pita bread, it just brought so many memories. So we are attached to it because, like I said in the beginning of the episode, sometimes it's easier than revisiting. We recreate the food in order to live. I feel like it's a hologram, you know what I'm saying? Like a hologram chamber, that when we eat the food, we just go back to all that surroundings and environment and the festive, culture that I always lived in, but you never experienced it until you went back in 2024, 25. But I have a question for you though. You never lived in Egypt. So is it when you eat the food as an adult now in Egypt, are you connecting that to your parents? Because you have nothing to compare it to. I lived back home in the Middle East. Is it just, your parents is the connection to that? Okay. Not the country. It's actually the parents.
So now, like we're talking now, currently, when I went 2024 and 2025, it was the connection to my parents. What's interesting though is I whatever I had in Egypt there, I definitely would connect it to my mom making it. And what's interesting is other dishes that we had here, in Lebanese restaurants, all the restaurants I've eaten here, Middle Eastern restaurants, Egypt is like by far way better. I don't know if you agree on that, but I think it's like way better over there.
100%.
Like kushari.
100%.
I mean, kushari. We have a restaurant here that makes kushari down in Boston area. It's good. Not like my mom's, and of course not like the many restaurants we had in Egypt that made that dish. And it's a very simple dish. It's not a complex dish to make, but it was amazing. And then seafood's another thing that I really wasn't fond of much until I want to say college. I think I wasn't connected to seafood much until college. Maybe a little bit in high school. My mom ate a lot of seafood. I just didn't eat it. It wasn't really something I ate much of. The only thing, like if my mom made like a fried flounder fillet, I'd eat it. But I got to eat like the whole fish a lot later on. I want to say like my last year in high school and of course college and on, I was eating fish. I'm able to like, I can strip a fish down to its bones, pretty good. So, I do like a whole fish now. It's a very different taste than a fillet, to be honest with you. When you fillet a fish and you broil it or you fry it or whatever, if you have a whole fish and you bake it or you put it in like and you blacken it, it's another level, another taste. Or you put it in you put it in the oven with a sauce or something. It's very good. We went to a couple of seafood restaurants in Egypt, which were just phenomenal. And we weren't even in an area where seafood. We weren't Cairo. We haven't even gotten to the coastal regions. Alexandria or over on the Red Sea. The fish there, they're getting that fish from these locations from the Mediterranean and Red Sea. They get it in Cairo, but supposedly when you go to these areas, the fish is next level, even above Cairo. So that's something I'm looking forward to eat in the future when we go. Hopefully we'll go to Alexandria at least once or twice when we're there next time in March. And I don't think we're going to be able to go to the Red Sea. Maybe we will. I don't know. Maybe we will. I think there is driving distance to the Red Sea, but there are certain areas like in the south, Una and stuff like that are. Oh, that's supposed to be really nice. But again, we'll try it when we go. We'll go to these coastal areas and eat the seafood. But again, I thought the seafood was phenomenal in Cairo. It was
living in Jeddah. Oh my God. Yeah. So you have United States or Europe, and then you have, the fish in Egypt because everything is so fresh. And then being in Cairo, like I said, you're more landlocked. But we had fish from the Nile. Remember in Qina? The Nile fish was, I never had Nile fish before. It was so good and so fresh because the Nile was right there. Very good. Our hotel sat on the Nile and probably that fish came from the same spot. But growing up in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, right on the Red Sea, the fish and the shrimp and istakoza, which is the little lobsters, it's so good because literally they catch it first thing in the morning and you eat it at dinner time, just like in Italy. I mean, you saw how the Italian fish was so fresh. Oh yeah. But for me, I think it was like double the impactfulness of my experience in Egypt was double because not only, I'm nostalgia, like of not having that food in the United States and having to eat it and reminding my mom and Ihab, Allah yarhamha yahsin ilayha, but also at the same time, like it reconnected me to my life in Saudi Arabia. And that was overwhelming, emotional, nostalgia. It was like, you saw me. I mean, I cried for like no reason. It was so overwhelming. It was so warm. And I would eat anything. It just took me back in a snap. Like I can see it and feel it and smell it and taste it. I can feel the weather, the warmth of Saudi Arabia. I can hear my mom's voice. So it is definitely like an identity anchor food, but also don't forget about how we cook our food, and ethnic food brings people together. It's home cooked meal. Yes. It's shared, with in the dining room table. We're dining together. We're eating together, and also we're learning from each other. For according to research, recipes become like oral history. You're carrying that message, through the generation and with its memory. So it's not only the recipe and the cooking, whatever. Even right now, we cook something simple like chicken, and even, in the oven, we put it just a chicken oven, but using the same spices as my mom and your mom, you're like, oh my God, remember when this happened? Oh my God, I remember when your mom used to do that, So we are carrying through food, we're carrying history. We're carrying, it's like a food, food is a language. It's a language that we inherit from our ancestors, and we carry it on, and like I said, we transfer the power. And that's why when you ask me in Egypt, why are you so emotional? We're always going to come back. It's not because, it's not like I'm not going back. It just, I am feeling that moment like double, than what you are feeling. Because like I said, you were never taken away from it. I did. I took myself away from it. I'm going back to it. You're just going back to it with the connection of your parents. Your memory in the United States, for me, it's like losing it, going to the United States and going back to it. So it was very strong emotions. I just couldn't bear it anymore, and it came out as tears, and I was like, I miss this so much. So, but what do you like? I don't want to say it's lonely, like I said, it is lonely because you don't have the grandparents and the aunts and the uncles and the cousins, and food brings people together. I'm sure you have wonderful memories about the family friends that you had in Jersey City and how you guys got together too.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's funny when I sit down and connect with family friends in my mind, and think about the dinner table. It was really not the food. I mean, it's the company, it's the discussions we had, it's the laughing. It's the joking around with my mom, joking around. And I mean, to me, the food at that time, when I'm sitting at that table, actually, anytime I go out to dinner, if I'm out with you or with company, we're out with friends, it's really not the food. It's me, like connecting with people and having fun. And then how I remember the meals and the food that we ate is, obviously I know what I ate, but I connect it with, hey, do you remember when we went out with so-and-so? Or you remember when we went out with our family to this restaurant? Like, I'll never forget the last time I went into a restaurant with my mom. It was a seafood restaurant in New Jersey, and I saw my mom at that time. She ordered I think it was like a seafood mix, kind of, I think it was a stew or like a sauce of some kind, or a mix, it was a mixed seafood dish, and she didn't really eat it. And that was the first indication I kind of saw that my mom's had something going on. And of course we didn't kind of really put it together till the Alzheimer's dementia diagnosis came out. But she would order this food, and my dad would be like, well, why are you ordering all this food? Are you going to eat it? And she's like, yeah, of course I'm going to eat it. So in her mind, she's going to eat it, but she orders it and just eats a little bit of it, and that's it. And she doesn't eat anything else. And then, I remember leaving the restaurant, and the guy goes, you want to wrap this up? My mom's like, yes. And my dad's like, no, she's not going to eat it at home. So that's kind of something that I didn't think about at that time, but I thought back now, and of course, when my mom was diagnosed, that she was not, the brain wasn't connecting telling the stomach or telling the body to eat, it didn't know. It was disconnect. That connection was gone. So it was very interesting. That was the last time I went out here, except we went out to McDonald's when she was at the nursing home. We took her to McDonald's that one time. I'll never forget that. That was good. That was a fun time. So, but yeah, I mean.
Oh, she liked her Sunday. Her Sunday ice cream.
Oh yeah. And what's funny is when, speaking of food, when we got her food at the nursing home, we bought some Arabic food, I think from up in Patterson. And we got her baklava, I think, different sweets and stuff like that. So we were taking out all this Arabic food for her to try, these little, I think we had mahshi, or we had some busek. So we had a lot of different little things that you could eat with your hands. And I think she saw the dessert when we were pulling it out, and she was all she was thinking about was that dessert. And it was really funny that we were trying to like we're trying to kind of get her to eat the other food first, and then you'll get the dessert once. Just eat some of this. So she did eat some of it, and then finally, like, she couldn't do it anymore, and she had to have all that dessert. So whatever dessert we had for her, we just pulled it out, and she had some of it. She finished that dessert up. She loved dessert. Man, she really loved dessert.
She loved her sugar. It's almost she reverted to that childhood mentality. You know, like kids is like, I want dessert. I don't know. You didn't eat your dinner. You should eat dinner first.
Exactly.
Then you eat dessert. But she was like grabbing on the sweet first, and we're like, no. You need to eat a little bit better. Get something in your stomach before you eat all the sugar, because she's gonna end up with a tummy ache. But that is a very, very good point, Ehab. I didn't even think of that. How as her mind was receding and regressing, that her connection with food reverted to the old time, like her childhood, basically the old times, the way she looked at food, not like the mature adult mind's like, no, I gotta eat healthy, I gotta eat balanced.
Yeah, we talk about the psychology of, you had kind of had something here about psychology of food, but what happens when psychology or you lose that connection? It's almost like a chemical thing now. You've lost it. That like that's something that I'm afraid to lose. Like, I love to eat, so I don't know how. I mean, obviously, I'll not remember it because of if I have Alzheimer's or something like that. But it's something that, like, my mom loved to eat when I was young. She really loved food, but it's just like, it's almost like your brain is not telling your body to eat, but your body wants to eat for sustenance, right? At least that, but it's not connecting that. So you're not really hungry. You won't eat. So it's something that it's something that I think about, like, that one of the things I would never want to lose is that ability to wanting to eat for the pleasure of eating, not just for sustenance. I don't like to eat for that reason. And I know a lot of people think that is the way to lose weight. So you got to restrict yourself and things like that, which you definitely shouldn't wildly eat like a whole gallon of ice cream or something like that. But, having a little bit of ice cream is okay, here and there. Having some chocolate here and there is okay. But, having a pound of M&Ms is not okay, at one sitting. So it's just the portions you eat, if we're thinking about like health wise, but you can still eat the foods you enjoy in life, as long as you don't eat too much of it all at once. So like, there's a lot of, to be honest with you, a lot of Arabic food is very healthy, to be honest with you. But it's when you throw in the carbs, the rice, if you eat a lot of rice, a lot of bread, or, instead of eating more of the protein sources, or even the stews, as long as they're not made with like ghee and stuff like that and butter, samna, it's very healthy. If you got to think about, like, the stews my mom made, she did use semna, but when she cooked, but otherwise it was just a vegetable source, tomato sauce, a protein, and a carb, right? The rice, right? And she'd make salad, right? So if you think about the calories that you had in that meal, you subtract out the ghee and stuff like that. If you made it just like that, as is, it's such a balanced meal. It's wild that I think a lot of people, weight gain and obesity here in the United States is because of a lot of the foods are either processed, or you're eating a lot of fast food. And fast food's not good for you. I like McDonald's burgers here and there, but I really wouldn't be able to eat it every day. It's impossible. I used to be able to eat it all the time when I was overweight, but my whole mindset, right, psychology, we're talking about psychology about food, changed when I lost my weight. I'm like, you know what? It's eating McDonald's is all right. But like my taste even right now to eat McDonald's is I like it. Oh, I kind of crave it every once in a while, but I don't crave it like I have to have it every day. And I'm more into eating like healthier foods, but we still eat, different foods like we'll eat mulukhaya, we'll eat kufta, it's not like we won't eat this food. Like Slava, you're going to make some chicken drumsticks today. We're going to have some vegetables with it. Sweet potato. We could have had potato instead of it. It doesn't matter. So you have a starch, right? You have a vegetable. You have a protein source. You have a little fat in the protein. So you have everything you want in the meal, and it's all balanced and it's very tasty. It's that, it's got a little Arabic flair to it that you put into it. Sometimes you put in a little Ukrainian flair into the food, but it is so the food for me is not for sustenance. It's more for enjoyment. So when I sit down and eat something, of course I'm hungry, right? So you gotta fill your stomach up with food, but the food has to taste good or I just won't eat it. It's, like I won't eat just go somewhere. Like if I'm hungry and I'm trying to find somewhere to eat, I'm just not going to go sit in a restaurant that I don't know and just eat their food. It's very rare that I would do something like that. Like if I'm really hungry, I might stop into like, grab a chicken sandwich from some of the fast food places that I know. And because I know that food and I'm going to be okay eating it. It may not be the best thing for me, but I know it's, I can eat it. But I've been to restaurants where, like the meal was just average, okay. And it wasn't worth the money and it wasn't really tasty. And so, but yeah, I connect food with the time in my life, and kind of, I know it's getting kind of close to the end of this session, but I connected to the times in my life, my past, my mom. I now connect food from my visits to Egypt now in 2024, 2025. So I have that connection, and it's like we went to I want to say a Lebanese restaurant here in Boston. Two of them. There's two of them there, and I'm like, like I'll go. It's good. It's not like Egypt, but I'll go because we're meeting friends. Again, we're connecting to our friends and stuff like that. So I'm going because my friends like to go there, and I'll go. I don't mind, and it's not like the food's bad. So it's like, okay, great. We'll go meet, and I'm just eating, and we're talking. We talk for hours, and the food's the food. Even we went to the other day, like a couple of weeks ago, we went down to Bar Taco with the different little tacos you can buy, single tacos, whatever, filled with whatever you want, like fried haddock or whatever. But, that place is good. But again, we were with friends. We were enjoying ourselves. And I was just eating and talking, and I wasn't really paying attention much. Of course, I was hungry, but that's always something that you always have to do, fill up. And, but the connection to food is very much, like you said, is psychological and, emotional. Right. But I don't know. Your connection, I think, is there's a lot of psychology and a lot of emotion to it too. And it brings you back to some old memories.
Yeah. It's much deeper because I left home as an adult, at 19 years old. So it's cultural, it's memory, it's spiritual, it's identity, it's belonging, it's, filling in the loneliness. it has so many different, it's multifaceted, so many different emotions connected to it. So it's not only a recipe, it's not food. Like I said, I think it's the memories. It's amazing how, but they do say your gut is basically controls your emotions, and I think that's why we do connect it to our our memories and our nostalgia. But this was an amazing conversation. However, we have reached the end of our hour. As a reminder, these episodes are uploaded weekly on Spotify, Apple, and on YouTube by the Mindset Master Moments. So if you have enjoyed this, please like, share, and hit the notification bell. That way you won't miss any episode, and it's free. This community is sponsored by humanity and supported by everyday people stories. So please find us, join us, support us. And as always, be kind. Thank you for watching and listening. Hope to see you next time. This is Slava the Jordanian.